Can using your imagination enhance your photography?
I believe it can. In this video, I'm going to share some powerful thoughts with you about this and how using your imagination can be of great benefit to your photography.
Using your imagination is really powerful, but one thing you may not realise is that you use your imagination every time you create a photograph. I've come to a location today that I was at a few days ago for a walk, and while I was here I looked around and I saw so many photographic opportunities. And while I was here I began to imagine those photographs in my mind and how I could create them. So today I've returned to create those photographs. But before I do, I thought it would be good to share with you some thoughts on why using our imagination can really benefit our photography, and also some suggestions on how you can do it. Instilling a sense of imagination into your photography opens up a whole new world, a massive new world of opportunity, because you're not simply just looking at a subject. Like here, I've got this crushed pine cone here. I'm not just looking at the subject and going, it's a pine cone. Yes, it is a pine cone, but I can look at it more closely and I can start to look at how does it feel? What's the texture of it? What shape is it? How is it made? It's very brittle, it's very dry, it makes a crackly noise listening to it. I can also spark my imagination by looking up and trying to imagine, I wonder what branch this fell off of and how long has it been on the ground for? And somebody with more ecological knowledge than me may look at this and be able to understand when this actually fell from a tree and how old it is. But also some people may look at this and be able to understand whether any animals or creatures, bugs and insects have eaten this. But we can also come up with a whole story within this of, okay, this pine cone started as a tiny little seed that then grew into a tree, which then formed these other cones with other seeds, which are then used as food and resource and further birthing of other trees. And we can also come up with this beautiful story of the pine cone. We can personify it and create a story out of this pine cone in whatever way we want to. All of those options are available to us. We can perceive this literally, or we can perceive it from whatever perspective we want to. And that imagination opens up that whole new world of opportunity.
The personification of subjects can greatly enhance your photography, especially when photographing nature. There will be more about this later in the video. But for now, what can you do if tapping into your imagination is challenging for you?
For some people, imagination can be very challenging to tap into. If you find that that's you, it may be the case that you're not designed to be a particularly imaginative person, and maybe your gift to this world is much more in logic and reason. But equally, in some cases, not being able to connect with the imagination can come from not having the practice in doing so. And I think it's great in life to have a balance. So if you find yourself to be a very logical, reasoning person, while this may be your innate state, it may also be beneficial for you from time to time to tap into that imagination so that you can connect with the more fun, playful side of nature and maybe see new things and perspectives that you've not considered before. If this is you, then you may find some of the visualization exercises in my new book beneficial. In chapter 8 of the book, which is entitled Creating Photographs, it explores the concept of creating a photograph using thought and imagination. And I've written the following. Everything ever created started in someone's imagination, including photographs. A photographer first gains inspiration from somewhere and uses their imagination to create the photograph they desire. They visualize how the image will look, where they need to go to photograph it, and, depending on the context, what they will do with it after it's been created. This is true regardless of genre, location, or interests. You can connect with the power of your imagination and how it can benefit you when creating photographs in the following visualization exercise. And the visualization exercise goes as follows. Find a quiet place where you feel comfortable. Close your eyes and steady your mind by taking slow, deep breaths through your nose. Imagine a photo you would like to create. This could be an image you've had in your mind for a while, or something you've been inspired to photograph after seeing another photographer's work. Visualize the image exactly how you want it to be. Consider everything clearly: the size, composition, colours, subject, location, techniques, equipment used, and anything else you feel is important. Once the image is clear and you've considered all the steps needed to create it, begin engaging your emotions. Allow excitement to rise in your body as you imagine your dream image being created. Visualise yourself looking at the created image on the back of your camera, edited on your computer screen, or physically in your hands in the form of a print or book. Sit with the vision for a while, allowing joy to radiate through your body as you see your dream photograph created in front of you. Feel the smile beam from your face and the warmth in your chest. When you're ready to complete the exercise, breathe in the moment once more before gently opening your eyes. Allow some time to write down your vision, noting what you saw. To finish, create a plan for turning your imagined photograph into reality. The purpose of this exercise is, of course, to get you to tap into your imagination. You know, if you can sit at home and you can start to connect with the places you want to photograph, the subjects you want to photograph, the images you dream of creating, you begin to put the steps in motion to bringing those photographic ideas into reality. Because the thing is, we cannot physically create something if we don't imagine it first. And if you're somebody that enjoys planning your photography adventures, and this is probably something you do quite easily already, but something I like to do personally is, rather than planning my adventures, because sometimes that can lead to expectations and disappointment, I instead like to come out and see photographic subjects in the field. And in that moment, when I see something that I feel will make an interesting image, I then start to visualise it in my mind, imagining what I'll use, you know, what equipment I have with me, how I'm going to compose it, what I'd like in the frame, how I imagine to incorporate the colours I'm seeing together with the composition and everything else. And this is how I go through the visualisation process in the field. It's like I see something and instantly my imagination is sparked, imagining what that photograph is going to look like on the back of my camera, and in the end, on the computer screen or in print, once the whole process has been completed. So let me put this to the test and see how my imagination can help me to create photographs today.
Ferns always spark my imagination. There are so many ways to photograph them, and their size and colour change with the seasons, providing endless photographic opportunities. I love witnessing the sunlight illuminate the leaves and imagining how to showcase this in a photograph. My imagination is further sparked when I review my images and see the many spider webs hidden within, showcasing an unseen world among the foliage, which only a mindful photographer can witness. I love how photography enables us to get creative, bringing these leaves further to life with a shallow depth of field, enabling me to build stories and characters within. In this image, I bring personification to the picture, seeing each leaf as a person, one tall and mighty, and the other small and timid. Every time I look, I see something different. One minute they are dancing, then fighting, and then coming together in a warm embrace. Can you see the two characters in this image? If so, what action do you think they are portraying? And then comes the more creative images. Ferns often inspire me to implement intentional camera movements, creating beautiful artistic images that further spark my imagination. And then came the more literal photographs. As I admired a beautiful yellow flower, I imagined how I could combine my camera equipment, settings and inner vision to create a visual representation of what I was witnessing. When I was at this location a few days previous on my walk, I saw many insects and bugs and imagined all the amazing photographs I could create if I were to return. Although the butterflies were not present today, the insects that were made for some wonderful photographs. Without a camera, we can only imagine what these creatures look like, but with the help of a macro lens, we can see this and connect with these beautiful creatures on a deeper level. Tapping into your imagination can not only support your photography, but it can also bring many wellness benefits too.
But especially right now when there's so much going on in the world, I really feel that having the resource of tapping into the imagination can be just a fantastic resource to help us through these times, because we can imagine a much more balanced, peaceful world. We can imagine the life that we want to live. We can imagine the job or the vocation that we want to create for ourselves. We can imagine the images that we want to create. Because looking at photographs is so much more than just a visual experience. It can take us down incredible avenues of exploring different concepts, evoking memories that we have of the past, exploring our emotions, going into a fantasy world and sparking our imagination and seeing things within our images, like the images I've created recently with creatures and faces within them, or stories where I'm really looking at the human condition through nature and the lessons that nature is teaching me. Most of this comes from the imagination, but I find great comfort in it because it gives me a sense of guidance, of signs, of inner knowing, of self-expression and a different way of perceiving the world that gets me out of the fear and the anxiety and allows me to feel more supported, more connected, more at peace. So if you'd like to tap into your imagination, you may find this book beneficial.
You can head over to photographicconnections.com now to order your copy.